What you're witnessing there is part of the responsibility of a trainer. Now, what we're going to get into today is the other responsibilities that are under the tutelage of a trainer. And when I say under the tutelage of a trainer, I mean there's a list of things that come behind the actual rule of boxing. And one of those things is if you're a person directly working with a fighter, that you must understand exactly what other responsibilities fall up under that. It's an unspoken rule. But here we are today in 2024, where you're finding a lot of antics with fighters today. Whereas before, if you saw really outlandish type antics, it was a real thing. It was something to talk about. Whereas in today, you have antics from guys who are like Jake Paul. It's acceptable. Tyson Fury, Floyd Money Mayweather. The list goes on and on. And why is that? It's because it's accepted now, because there's no actual management in place to say, hey, here's where the line is drawn. So it's okay that you can do this and that. So, what we have to get directly into is what is the actual responsibility of a trainer. Now, I recently spoke to a young man, and I'm going to show you guys a couple of things that will be very alarming to you on what to not do if you're a trainer. And what gives me liberty to discuss this conversation is because before I even go any further, I have to always respect those of you who are new to the page and give you a little backstory. 30 seconds. The thing about what gave me the passion to start this journey in boxing was because I had a really deep love for it. And all young men, they have to find something that attaches to them that they may not have grown up with. Boxing gives you that thing. It gives you that direct connection to that young kid that you were when you were aspired to be like, whether it was Rocky, whether it was Apollo, whether it was Muhammad Ali, whether it was Salvador Sanchez, but Roberto Duran, Marvin Hagler. It doesn't matter who you were a fan of. They drove you. The Jerry Coonies of the world. We just had Irish Independence Day, and when I think of that, I think of Jerry Cooney because he had a big, massive following behind him. Hence is why him and Larry Holmes put on such a great card. Just the build up. It was the black. It was the white. It was they built it up. They used everything that they could, and it worked. Arena packed, crazy sales, pay per view. These are the kind of things that you have to pay attention to. But today, you see antics everywhere, all over the place. And so, with that being said, my journey, I've been in it for 4 decades. I've gotten a chance to really see real smart boxing minds, guys who really have lived this as a lifestyle. And I will never claim to be the guy who wants to say, my career was about going to the corner. See, I'm a tactician and I'm all about strategy and I'm all about knowing the methodology and how to actually attack a fight or any fighter or take away anything that they possess. That's what my job is. When you think of people like that, you think of Bowie Fischer, who molded Bernard Hopkins, people who are very, very majestic in the way they approach it. And over 40 titles later, having that recipe and experiences, it really allowed me to see how stupid I was. You see, until you're doing boxing, you truly will never understand all of these things that you're seeing that the media presents to you. You don't know if they want you to think that. And so, this is where we're going to table this conversation in boxing that of trainers today, you have a responsibility. There is a reason why back in the days, and I don't want to bring that up as if there were perfect people in the back in the days, the Archie Moores of the world, the tiny Archie Bowls, the people who were really, really in that game, Henry Armstrongs, gangs, we got people like Willie Pep, who I'm affinity with the abilities in the ring, Jack Dempsey, Max Bear, people who could hit you with one punch and kill you, and it's on the record. Boom Boom Mancini. See, I say this to say that there's a reason why things have skid off the road. Whenever there was an era, there was one guy who was a standout loud guy. And in this era, there's a multitude of these individuals, and you don't have to come outside of your brand in order to promote something. There's methods to do it. There's opportunity. You can go capture the heads and ears and interests of people at universities. The exact same thing that Muhammad Ali did when he couldn't fight for those 3 years. He went around speaking at universities. He went around introducing himself to these colleges and these different organizations. And that's what people don't realize, that that's available for them. You don't have to do it that way. You can build your own recognition and popularity by just being present and visible in places where they get to know who you are. But what you're finding today is this off the chain, and I'm going to show you a couple of scenes that show you that the trainer has more of a responsibility than most people are understanding. And these things are, they, where I'm from, they're unspoken rules. They don't need to be in a book. But when I look at this and I table the conversation, you got guys who are showing off. They're off the rails because the trainer does not want to lose his job. The trainer does not want to table the conversation of possibly not bringing any value. But I just had a recent situation happen to me within a short time span where one of our coaches who had come up under our tutelage and then slid out was working with this top fighter. I won't say the name, I won't disclose that. But the guy went on a losing streak. And it was because of what? It was because he would not bring the knowledge that he was actually learning for the fight night and fight walking into that fight, because all of that other stuff you do like this stuff, it goes out the window. That stuff ain't, it's not relevant on fight night. You see what I'm saying? And this is where, when they post all this training stuff and you get hyped about their fighter, but then there's a couple of sides to this. And when you get a chance, just think about this. They post what they want you to see, but there's other things happening. And now that we have social media, you can see all of the antics that's going on. But this guy came into our under our tutelage and kind of then went away for a little while for whatever reason. He didn't even realize that what we had inside of our online school, it's a university for brilliance. If you want to be brilliant at boxing, that's where you go to a university. You're not going to get brilliant scrolling on Instagram in boxing or YouTube. No, it takes too many hours to teach it. Day in and day out. It takes too much to acquire. And then there's layers. And then you have to go through practicals once you see it, hear it. Then you have to go through walking through developing muscle memory for it. And then you move on. But in the reality, what people are doing is they're actually looking at something and saying, I got this. And then they go put it out there and don't realize, I didn't know that you couldn't do that inside of the B zone. And then they get clipped. But this young man picked this fighter, went on a losing streak, and lo and behold, one of our administrators came to me and said, "Hey, isn't this guy, wasn't he with us before? Yeah. Is he back? Yeah. Did he, why is he back? Because they lost." And see, that's the thing. The problem is, if a fighter loses because the guy is better than him, that's one thing. But what we're seeing is fighters are losing because the trainers won't take what they are doing to the next level. If 40 title fights is not enough to say, I might know something that you don't know. Then I don't know what is. Because there's very few people on the planet ever who can say that. And when you're an advisor and a tactician, you can do more. It's just like a man. A man could have 50 babies in the same year. A woman can only have triplets, quadruplets at most. You know, you really have to think about this. But I'm able to maneuver. I did live streams, fight clinics, film studies with world champions right here on our timeline because I can. That goes to me. That's credit to me. I've been a part of some of the most historic current championship fights just because I got this baby right here. And just because I got this baby right here, and just because I wrote all of these 30 books on the science of boxing, and I put everything on it. And this is one that I can't swallow when a guy has the opportunity to not lose, but he will not present the things that he's invested in to the other people who are in camp because they may take it wrong. Now they can see your training has changed. They see you're much more efficient. They say you're much more affirmed in what you're approaching and how you're approaching what you're approaching. You look very buttoned up now. Your fighter is progressing consistently, and what they're doing is transferring into the ring, but you haven't had that discussion with the rest of the guys that you have now found a place. And this place is allowing you to not have questions about your boxing, have answers about your boxing, have answers about things that you're thinking about doing with your fighter. It's already been proven, but you won't share it with them because you don't have the communication skill set. And so when this happens, that guy, he shrunk. And then they went on a losing streak because, see, we have a conversational portal that we call the coach's corner. That when a coach is about to approach a fight, what we do is we have conversations about what is it that you're concerned about, and let's break this thing down. Here's exactly how you manage any situation in every fight, and we go through it. Here's what could be possible to happen. I'll look at the fighter. I'll break your fighter down, the guy who's on our team. I break him down, and this is what I do. And if I'm telling you I'll do that to you, you better believe it can be done, because there's somebody out there that knows how to deliver those instructions inside of that boxing ring in the same manner in which I'll tell him that it'll work. Because see, I've seen it over 40 times, real time. And if you do, you understand that there is a method that you have to learn how to communicate with the people that are in your camp as well, not just the fighter. But one thing you do have, and you have the responsibility of a fighter. And I like that young man, Ryan Garcia. But one of the things that I'm noticing is that there's a lot of derailing, and there's another responsibility that the trainer could take upon himself. He doesn't have to, but if he does, it's not a negative. And that's knowing how to approach your fighter and get into his world. Allow yourself to submerge yourself into his dream and learn about what's actually going on. And hey, be a voice of reason and be a person that listens. I'm not seeing that. I'm seeing a man screaming out. And when I see things like this, it's telling me more.
Say less. Yes, I'm running for president. I'm not even kidding. This one, hey, I'm gonna take a toast to all the haters. Empty, drank it all myself. Now what the fuck you gonna do to me? All you guys fucking drink. Half of you guys are fucking drunk in the chat. You fucking hating ass motherfucker.
You see, this is I don't allow cursing in my gym. I don't allow shirts off in my gym. I don't allow anything close to tardy. I don't allow you not following the process and doing your program mediums when you're not at the gym. And I don't allow you to be more than 8 pounds off of your weight ever. Because, see, I'm in real sports performance, the science of the human body, and I've written books on it and I understand it. And I've done it at the highest level, the NFL, professional boxing, MMA. It doesn't matter. I've left my footprints everywhere. My grandkids will be very, very proud of what I've done. And that's one of the things that I use as fuel. And if you're going to train out here in the sport of boxing, you need to really consider that there's more that go along with that job than you just getting credit for everything that happens good. But when the things happen bad, you want to wash your hands of it. Now, this young man who came up under our tutelage and came back, once they came back, he'd already lost the fighter contract, well, the relationship with the fighter. And the fighter finally turned the corner. But he didn't have a contract with this company. If I say the company, you'll know exactly who I'm talking about. So I'm going to keep that buttoned. But what we have to do in this moment is realize that was preventable. Because, see, I know how to win fights. See, thinking you know how to win fights is one thing, but when you've done it and you've proven a medal and you've proven a model of winning, even in dire straight circumstances, that means you've understood how to take a guy who's average and turn him into a masterful boxer. Boxing is what you learn so that you can fight better when you're an amateur. Prize fighting is what you do when you get to the professional ranks and you use your boxing when the fighting gets too tough. Hopefully, you are able to encompass that. Take that in, swallow that. You learn to box so that you can acquire the ability to fight in the amateurs. And when you go to the pros, you use your fighting ability, and the boxing is what gets you out of hot spots. And if you one without the other means you're just very, very limited. And there's no chance you win against fighters that get trained in a system like master boxing. I'm just going to tell you the honest truth, because if you're great at something, we're going to take it away. You got to figure out how to beat us a whole entirely different way. That's how I train our coaches, our trainers, our fighters that come up under our banner and want direction in their careers, and they want mentorship. Just like the coaches, we mentor the coaches because they don't have that. And we all are boxing because of something we lacked as children. That fatherhood is a real thing. That impact that your father has, it's a real thing. A lot of our fathers was working all the time when we were all growing up. So we never had that extended relationship with them. The relationship that you yearn inside, even though you keep it built and packed down, but it's still there. And that's one of the main reasons when you meet a mentor, it feels different because you're able to expel everything that you feel inside. Part of that role is what the role of the trainer. The trainer has the opportunity to do that. It's a choice. I feel like it came with the territory. I built relationships with our fighters. We talk for 1 hour every day. That's a pro tip. Before we started training, we talked 1 full hour. It was never shorter than that because, see, it's about the relationship. And that's why they would produce, and they understood and they trusted what I said. And I also had the resume by then anyway. But the reality is this: there's things and responsibilities that the trainer has. And it's more than just saying, hey, we're gonna get some work in a spar today, and hey, let's do this. That's all good. But then there's the other side, that other 18 to 23% of the time that's not being filled by the trainer who doesn't understand how to make and approach the situation. He does not know how to really bring together the conversation in the training camp with the other trainers, because you need XYZ A, B, C, D, E, F, G. As far as letters that go on the trainer, what role does he play? What role does his play? What role does he play? All of those roles have to be filled so that there won't be a hole in your camp. And if you are doing this the right way, you won't be. Um, what's going on, champ? Thanks for showing up. And all of you guys who are showing up, this conversation is about knowing that you can have that dream experience as a trainer or a fighter, but the relationship gap that you guys are building is showing up all over the game. It's showing up, and it's that, like I said, it's that hole in us that we have and have had as children that was never filled. And we also didn't get the ability to communicate. And that is showing up now for these guys to pop out of nowhere after kind of letting their membership flail and then come back when things got hard and want to get back because they know I know how to get them back. I tell them, this is what you do, this is what you do, this is what you do. Now you're in our group and you have to face accountability and you have to check those boxes. Now, if you box and you know you're not disciplined all the way, then you know you need accountability. If you don't have it, you need to get it or not. But just know every single day, I think it's been upwards of 5 figures of people. So you can say 10,000 that have opted in for that skills guide. You know why? Because people want to learn this stuff. They don't want to just hop around social media platforms. The hours that you're doing that, you're not getting one synchronicity, one layer of synchronicity between all of that stuff you're learning. It's all scattered. And these people are learning stage by stage, day by day, skill by skill, skills and sets. The 4 stages of boxing. I already said it. One is basics. And if you don't understand these four, you're going to get your asses blowed away. Two is advanced. This is where you go a little bit further with the techniques, and this actually helps you in more areas inside of the boxing ring. It gets you out of stickier situations. Phase three is unconventional. This is where we teach our people styles. Unconventional. Yeah, you're in the peekaboo and you're squared up. All unconventional. You're in the Philly shell. You got one arm down. Unconventional. You're doing the Muhammad Ali back pedal, crossing your feet. Unconventional. But all of those play a role. And that's when you get to stage four. And if you're in the coach's corner, you know what stage four is. So, with that being said, this is what educated boxers operate like and what they look like and what it will look like when you're against it and you can't get anything off, because that's what you're facing. Because every single person that's enrolled in the school top trainer program, that's what they're gonna have. And if you don't have it, you ain't getting it off no damn Instagram, I can tell you that. But you get insight and clips. I mean, you ain't getting no real what they get. That's crazy. You know, Mercedes will let you test drive it, but they're not going to let you take it home until you do what you need to do. You need to register that thing. You need to prove that you can pay for it. And you need to then say, hopefully my credit's good enough to get this thing like I want it. Is everything has rules. Anytime you decide to climb a level, there's a new devil. In order to get that devil off and out of your way, you have to do something. You need a skeleton key to open that door, and that's what it'll take. They got to enroll and they got to follow the process. We promise nothing if you don't do the what's required. But if you do what's required, we guarantee supremacy, because it's just about steps that you got to take. That's what it is. Special shouts out to all of you guys chiming in. Special shouts, special shouts. I pray for the young man, and I pray for anybody who's trying to learn and they're just running in the hurdles and they don't have a camp that everybody can have conversations because they have not learned how to do that. And so, with that being said, this is kind of what this is all about. Trainers, you have a responsibility to choose to do, or these kind of meltdowns will happen in your situation when you least expect it. And you should all be paid handsomely for what you do. But you have to understand that the relationship between you and the fighter has to be built and established in a way, and representation matters. And we represent our guys. If you are in Champions University, you're going to get represented because I know that's coming. You don't always know what's coming. We do. I've done this. So just understand there's an important thing in this. And the lesson is there's more that needs to be done. The mentorship is a real thing. Don't underplay it. And when you have not established great relationship with all of the other coaches who work the corner and train the fighter in the gym, and you guys, there is any divide there, you need to table the conversation, schedule a call, because that's going to be the problem. And it's one thing when a fighter loses a fight because of the other guy was just better. They were more prepared. They had what it took. That's life. But when you lose, when you had the opportunity to prevent that from happening, that falls on you. And you knew that there was a place that you could fix it, but you didn't. And you knew that there was more steps that you could take, but you chose not to. And now that fighter thinks of you as the reason they fought, regardless of what he's telling you, because it's me who they're reaching out to. It's me the reason why there are so many notifications on my phone that it shuts down. Your fighters, people on your team, you can't fake this. This is 24 hours. You don't think your fighters touching base with people like me who are out here showing real boxing? I don't want any of your fighters. I don't do that anymore. But I do operate as a professor. I write the books, I educate my people, and I direct them. I'm an advisor. Don't be that guy. That's my advice. Position yourself, because if you don't understand how to talk to these fighters, you will not get paid first the right way. And you will not ever have a respect, and they'll always put blame on you because you didn't come with your stuff in order. You don't have your operation in order. So it's easy to run over you. I'm not that guy. You have to operate in the same manner in which my mentors and coaches did. And they are the greatest minds in boxing on the Mount Rushmore. All right. When you start mentioning names like George Benton, Matthew Sod, those legends, Archie Moore, Kenny Adams, look, man, don't play. I done this thing. And if you're smart, you'll get on your game. That's all I got. I'm out of here. Be blessed.